So, hey, all right. So, I really like what you said about this Karen character that you made because, you know, and it's been touched on a couple times, but in reality, like Peter Parker deals with something that's like, he like there's a couple storylines where like more than one woman is interested in him
Mm,
at a
yeah,
time, and he
yeah. Back
has to
in
like.
the early days, I mean, that was going on. Some of the
Yeah.
very early stories. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's like, in real life, that's tough, right? It's like, did you sort of like I don't know, like I
My wife is going to see this, so the answer is no before you ask the question, because there's no
I
way.
wasn't I wasn't gonna go that far. I just meant in terms of like storytelling. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
No,
no, no. I'm
I can tell you, I can tell you a funny anecdote.
yeah,
A buddy of mine from California called me one day, and he had a moment. He told me where he's like everything came together. He's like, for some reason, for about 3 weeks, every woman he met was like, "Wow, I really like you." And he's like, "What do I do with it?" So he figured he'd make hay while the sun shines. And he called me up one night, and he was panicked. I've never heard him panic. He's actually a guy that normally wouldn't panic. He said, "Man, I got a problem." He said, so I'm in my apartment right now. He said, "I'm in the bathroom right now because I have a girl with me." And I'm like, "Well done, mate. I'm glad, you sort of live
yeah,
vicariously through him. I'm a happily married guy." He said,
right,
"Yeah, but I just got a phone call from this other girl, and I was supposed to meet her across the street in a Brazilian restaurant.
right.
Um, and and now I've got the two going on, and I don't know what to do." He said, and he said, "I'm trying to work out what to do, and my ringer buzzes, and it's a third girl, and she's downstairs wanting to come up." And he's like, "I don't know what to do." And I said, "You know what, dude?" I said, I don't know what to do either. But thank you so much for telling me that story." And he was so panicked. He had no
Yeah,
idea what to do. It was brilliant.
yeah, right.
I'm like, "Well, there you go, man. Be careful, right? Don't do that again.
Yeah. Good
That's
night.
good luck. I'm out. Good luck with that." So,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So,
yeah. So,
that's a feather in your cap there, and I will also say, I've looked at your social media. You give your wife good compliments from time to time. So
so
I think
I'm the guy who's the most ridiculously happily married man, right? And I will tell you, I got another anecdote. This is a good anecdote too, right? So I'm always, I love my wife. She's beautiful, and she's the mother of my two children,
for
and
it.
we've been together for close to 20 years now, and it's just as good now as it ever was. And
Congratulations.
but
Absolutely.
she is known as nigh perfect, right? And she's really funny. She's quite wacky. She does funny little silly things from time to time. She got like a wacky little brain, and
Yeah.
she's super cute in the way she does it, right? But
Mhm.
the 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 thing that I like, a buddy of mine called me one day, and he said, "I'm really mad at you." And I said, "Well, what are you mad at me for?" And he said, "Well, get this, right? So I'm talking to my wife. He was a married guy, and his wife's beautiful girl, and he said she tried the talk with me. She said to him, she said, "Which of my friends do you find attractive?" And he's like, "No, no, no, I'm not going down that road. There's no way I'm answering that question." And she's like, "Go on, tell me which one." And she's like, "I'm not
Wow.
doing it. This is a trap, right?" So they have this interaction for a few minutes, and she says, "Just pick one of them. Which one do you find attractive?" And he's like, "Let me think." And he sort of picks one that he thinks will be, maybe get him out of trouble, And she goes, "Huh, okay." And so he's thinking, "Well, okay." He said, "Well, is there any of my friends that you find attractive?" And she said, "Yeah, Paul Jenkins." And he's like, "What?" And she said, "The reason that I find Paul Jenkins attractive," he said, "I would like you to talk about me when I'm not there, the way that he talks about his wife."
Oh, imagine you go through all those hoops. You're saying the nice thing,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you're just making other guys mad,
Yeah,
for
I got mad, right? But
all that
she just
all
said,
that work,
yeah, she felt like,
Yeah.
that I mean, my friends have always known that, that I will only ever speak well of my wife, and she's, so this goes back to my days at Spiderman, especially when I took it over, right? is that
Hmm.
I wrote him and Mary Jane as a young, happily married couple, right? And
Hmm.
so people were talking about the wedding and undoing it, and it was all a dream and all that stuff. And I'm like, look, what I hated about it was that they wrote them always sniping. Like she didn't want him to be, she was a shrill person that yelled at him for being Spider-Man and he kept secrets from her. And I'm like, not all married people are like that. There's a scene I did in Spider-Man of them Klingon wedding. There's a scene I did where they go into a store and she can't make the machine stop and it's throwing her stuff on the ground. There's all kinds of funny things. The dog across the street, all of that, and all of that was just stories about me and my wife, just being young and happily married. And we just got married. I met my wife when I was writing Spider-Man, and we got married while I was writing Spider-Man. Right. So
Yeah,
why couldn't we write Peter and Mary Jane as if they were happily married? You know?
totally.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think, I mean, I think that's one of the, you know, kind of like one of the best parts of the fantasy of Spider-Man is like,
Yeah.
that part of his life is good and then he can go save the world, you
Yeah,
know?
and if
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
happy, you've got the strength. If you have someone that supports you and cares about you, you have the strength to go do these difficult jobs. So yeah, but yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm annoyingly happily married, unfortunately. Sorry, everyone out there. I know you wanted it.
Alright, that was fantastic. All right, just one closer. What about Ghost Rider? All of your thoughts, all of your Ghost Rider thoughts.
So I think just as a visual character, that
Mm,
character is great. What a great character! It's a skeleton riding a motorbike.
yeah, yeah,
Amazing. I actually did a Ghost Rider mythos. We did one that we did
right.
the best we could with a background. Um, I think there's no character that couldn't be written well, and I think there's a way to write Ghost Rider. But it's a tough one. Like not many people have written that's had any
Right.
substance. And, I've wanted to write him in the past because I think the visuals of that can be contrasted against the quiet moments of him trying to come to terms with what's happening to him. Right? There's a lot to be done there, but
Yeah,
really, well, the way it's treated is let's just have him jump through flaming hoops on his flaming motorcycle. It's like, well, yeah, but I mean that gets tired after a while. So I like the
yeah.
character. I think it could be done, but it's not. There's not much going on with it sometimes.
I thought I don't know. I haven't. Do you mind if I share with you a Ghost Rider idea?
Please do.
I thought it would be cool if Matt Murdock, Daredevil, died and came back as Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that would be a good. That would be a great way of doing it. Yeah,
I thought
I
that would
agree.
be nuts because
Yeah,
he's got all this faith and stuff wrapped up, you
yeah,
know. But
yeah, yeah.
wow, this is I'm so thrilled to get to talk comics with a guy who's worked on them for a long time, and I appreciate your just your all of your different work, your ideas. And I do want to say, like I kind of reached out to you out of the blue, and you said the first thing you said was, "I'm always happy to help people come up with new content," and that meant a lot. I really appreciated it. It was very cool to really kind of finally turn over these stones, these questions that I had about your Spider-Man run for so long. So thanks so much for coming on, man. Really
Likewise,
cool.
man, I'm happy that we did the interview, and I hope it does well for you.
Oh, thanks, man. All right. So I'll find a way to reach out to you again at some point. Hope we'll figure something out. Thanks so much, man.
All
Thank
right,
you.
good night.
All right.
See you. Bye.